one, add and subtract polynomials. Okay, what's polynomial?
Exponent.
Listen.
It's a thing.
What is it?
Math.
Okay, so if I only look at this right here. Okay, y'all see this right here? It's a polynomial. Okay? It's got multiple terms. Alright? Multiple terms. Everybody see this?
Yep.
Everybody know what a polynomial is?
Yep.
Like this. Okay? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with polynomials this unit. Listen. Shh. This is like the most algebra 1 we're going to, okay, everything that we've kind of done is put a little bit of review. 8th grade, okay, we kind of stuck our toe in the water for algebra 1 a little bit, but this right here is really where it's coming in, algebra 1 is coming in hot, okay? A lot of this stuff you'll do again in algebra 2, this is the algebra, okay, so that's important that you know how to do this stuff before you move on. Okay, so a polynomial. A lot of what we're going to be doing is working with polynomials. Today is adding and subtracting. Then we're going to be multiplying. Then we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with polynomials, okay? All right, so simplify. What does simplify mean? If you don't know, I have this umbrella over here. This umbrella that I've drawn for you guys. What does it say that simplify is? First step is distribute, okay? Take it off. What does distribute mean?
Distribute is like if there's parentheses, the number outside of the parentheses times it.
Multiply. Good. Distribute means multiply that number on the outside of the parentheses. Then what's step number 2 for simplify?
Combine like terms.
Combine like terms. What operation is combining like terms?
Like if you have like
adding. Yes, you're adding them together. You're combining them together. You're adding them together. Okay? All headphones out of our ears? Okay. All right, so our directions say simplify. All right? In order to simplify, step 1, I want you to write at the top. Step 1, we're going to distribute. Distribute. Step 2, you guys told me is what?
Combine like terms.
Combine like terms. Okay? So distribute means what? What operation? Multiply. Combining like terms, what operation? Add. Good. Multiply and add. Okay? All right. So number 1 says simplify. Okay? We're adding and subtracting the polynomials, but in order to do that, we have to get rid of our parentheses first. So how do I get rid of parentheses? What's step 1? Distribute. Okay, what number is on the outside of this parentheses?
1.
A positive 1. All right, so anytime you multiply 1 to anything, a positive 1, what's your answer?
1. Well, no, the number that you're multiplying.
Yeah, itself. So 1 times whatever you're multiplying, it stays the exact same. So what is 1 times 2x squared?
2x squared.
The same thing, 2x squared. So what is 1 times 3x?
3x.
Okay, 3x, and it's positive, so we have to put a plus sign in front of it. 3x. You got to have your symbols in front. Okay. Then we do 1 times positive 2, and it stays the same, and it's positive 2. Are you with me? Questions? Take your hood off. Okay, so that was the first set of parentheses. All right. Now I got to distribute the next set of parentheses. What number is on the outside of this parentheses?
1.
Positive 1. And anytime you multiply 1 to anything, you get the same thing. So 1 times x squared is just positive x squared. Remember, we're multiplying. 1 times negative 5x. Negative 5x. Same thing. 1 times negative 5. Negative 5. Okay, everybody should be writing this with me. Okay. That was step 1. We multiplied. Step 2, combine your like terms, which means we're going to be adding. Now, what is a like term? What do they have to have? Listen, Ethan, stop. What is a like term?
What did I do?
You're just being a distraction. What is a like term? What kind of numbers are the same? What do they have to have? Same variable, so the same letter. What else do they have to have the same?
Same.
Exponent. Good. So they have to have the same letter and exponent. So I want everybody to start with circling 2x squared. So everybody circle it. Circle it, circle it, circle it. Okay. What else is like terms with 2x squared?
X squared.
Just regular x squared. Now watch when I circle it, I include the sign in front of it. See how I included the sign in the circle? Okay. Now what number is in front of this x squared? Imaginary 1. Okay, combining like terms. What operation? Adding. Okay. So I'm going to be adding 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1 gives me 3. So my answer is 3, and what's got to be behind it?
X squared.
These both have x squared, so 3's got to have x squared. With me? Ethan, are you writing with me? Okay, then I go to the next term, which is a positive 3x. Draw a box around this one and include that plus sign. Levi, you ready? What's like terms with positive 3x? Negative 5x. Put a box around it. Okay. What operation am I doing? Adding. So 3 plus negative 5 gives me negative 2. Okay. Now, this 3 and the 5 have a what? X. So what's negative 2 got to have? X. Now, notice that I didn't do plus minus 2. Plus negative 2. I just did 3x squared minus 2. Okay. Okay, what's left? Are those like terms? Yeah, I can combine those. 2 plus negative 5 gives me negative 3. Do those have an X or any letter with them? No, so this doesn't need it. Are any of these like terms? No. Can I combine any more? No. Yes, they have the same X, but they don't have the same exponent, so it's not the same. Can't combine. Stick your head up, please. Okay, question. Are we good? Okay, look at, we're going to go right underneath it, right here. Everybody see this one? Look right here. Underneath it, okay? Same thing, we're simplifying. So what's step 1? Distribute, and we're going to multiply. So what number's on the outside of the parentheses? 1. Are you guys with me? Okay, 1. So anytime you multiply times 1, it stays the same. So 1 times 2x squared is going to stay 2x squared. Then I have 1 times x is going to stay the same as positive x. 1 times negative 4 stays the same because it's a positive 1. Multiplying by positive 1. Okay, look at my second set of parentheses. What number's on the outside? Negative 1. So is it going to stay the same? No, what's going to happen? Are they all going to be negative?
Oh, except for the negative.
So what are you going to do? When you multiply by negative 1, what happens? Yeah, your letters and numbers are going to stay the same, but the signs are going to change. So this is a negative 1 times x squared. Well, x squared is going to stay the same, but instead of a positive x squared, it's going to be negative x squared. Because what number is in front of this x squared? An imaginary 1. So it's really negative 1 times 1 gives me negative 1 x squared. Okay? So then I do negative 1 times negative 4. And I get positive 4 plus 4x. Then I do negative 1 times positive 1 again and get negative 1. So if you multiply by a positive 1 on the outside, your signs and numbers stay the same. If you multiply by a negative 1 on the outside, your signs change. Okay? Am I finished with this problem? No. Now I have to do step 2. And step 2 is combining like terms, and we're going to add. Okay. Circle your first term, 2x squared. What's like terms with 2x squared? Negative x squared. So 2 and negative is going to be negative 1. And I'm going to add them. 2 plus negative 1 gives me positive 1. Do I need to write the 1? No. I just need to write x squared. It's 1x squared, but I don't have to write the 1. Okay. All right, box your next term, plus x. What's like terms with x? 4x. So this is a 1 plus 4 gives me positive 5x. And then what's left? Negative 4 and negative 1. So negative 4 plus negative 1 gives me negative 5. Levi, did you write that down? Yeah, you did? No. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, number 2. What am I distributing first? The first parentheses. What number's out there? 1. What's on the second one? Positive 1. Okay, you guys do number 2. Go. Distribute and then combine your like terms. Everybody should be doing number 2 on their own. Levi, you should be working on number 2. Levi, work on number 2, please. Okay, check and make sure you distributed right. If you got this part right, go ahead and start combining your like terms. You shouldn't be copying mine. You should have already done this. Now combine your like terms.
Oh gosh.
I'm so over that. Combine your like terms. Okay, so what's like terms with 7y squared? 5y squared, and you're adding 7 plus 5 gives you 12y squared. Then you should have box 2y. What goes with 2y? Negative 4y, which gives you negative 2y. Then you're left with negative 3 and 2, which gives you negative 1. And there's your answer. 12y squared minus 2y minus 1. How do we do? Got it? Okay, number 4. What am I going to distribute first on number 4? A 1. What am I going to distribute on the second set of parentheses? Negative 1. Okay, you do it. No, not right now. You haven't done anything that I've asked you to do. So you should be distributing a 1 and then a negative 1. Does anything change on the first set of parentheses? No, because it's a positive 1. What about the second set? What changes? The signs. Okay, make sure you distributed right. Check this. You can combine your like terms. Okay, circle 6y squared. What's its like term?
Negative 2y squared.
Negative 2y squared. So 6 plus negative 2 is 4y squared. Then box 8y to the 4th, which is like terms with negative 9y to the 4th. And you get negative y to the 4th. Because it's really negative 1, but you don't have to write the 1. Then I'm left with negative 5 and 7, and I get positive 2y. How'd we do? Good. Okay, number 4. 4 says, find the perimeter of the triangle shown. What's my keyword here? Perimeter. What's perimeter mean?
Outside.
Add all sides. Add all sides. Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to do. It doesn't matter what side you start with, okay? I'm going to start with this side right here. Okay? So I'm going to start with 3x squared minus 4x plus 7. And then what am I going to do to the next side? I'm going to add them. So I have to do a plus sign because I'm adding. And then I write the next side. X squared plus 3x minus 5. And then I do the third side. I'm going to add it. Plus 2x squared plus 4x plus 1. So I got all the sides on there. Do I need to distribute? No, because I don't have parentheses. So what am I ready to do?
Add combine
Like terms. Now, does this look really scary because there's a lot of numbers here? Yeah, it looks scary because there's a lot of numbers, okay? It's a really long problem, okay? Okay, so then I'm going to just take it step by step. X squared. What's like terms with x squared? X squared and 2x squared. You're right, you can go get a drink of water. Okay, so 3 and what number is this? 1 and 2. 3 plus 1 plus 2. 6x squared. Okay, then box your next term. Negative 4x. What's it like terms with? 3x and 4x. Okay, this has got negatives in it, so I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator. -4 plus 3 plus 4 gives me 3x. So plus 3x. Then I'm left with 7, -5, and 1. 7 plus -5 plus 1 gives me 3. Is that scary? No, it had a lot of numbers in it, but you still did the same steps. Number 5 says, find the area of the shaded region. So what am I looking for? The shaded region. Okay. Find the area of the shaded region if 9x squared minus 6x plus 3 is the area of the total region. So what is this? Area of the total. So put total above it. That's the whole thing. Area of all of it. And 3x squared plus 2 is the area of the unshaded. So what is this?
Area of
unshaded. Someone should write unshaded. Good. So I want to find the shaded. I'm given the total and the unshaded. So what'd you say I'm going to do? Subtract. So I'm going to write it in words first. Total minus the unshaded is going to equal the shaded, what we're looking for. Now, when you, pick your head up please, Levi. When you are subtracting, you have to put them in parentheses. Okay? Everybody hear what I just said? When you have a subtraction problem with polynomials, you have to put them in parentheses. Why? Why do you have to do that?
Maybe it's like a negative one.
Okay? Because what do I have to distribute here? I'd have to distribute a -1. Well, that's going to change all the signs in the unshaded. Okay? So if you don't put them in parentheses, it only changes the first sign and not all of them. Okay? Here, it'll make sense when we write it. So our total's got to be in parentheses. 9x squared minus 6x plus 3 minus our unshaded 3x squared plus 2. So what I meant by that was I have to distribute a what back here? A -1. If I didn't have the parentheses, that -1 wouldn't get distributed to the 2. Okay, so it's important that you put parentheses when you do negative problems. Or minusing. What gets distributed in the front? A +1. Does anything change in here? No. Okay, so 1 does not change anything. So 9x squared minus 6x plus 3. Now what changes in the second set of parentheses? The signs change. So this -1 times 3 is -3x squared. -1 times 2 is -2. Am I finished?
No.
No. Now what? Combine your like terms. 9x squared goes with -3x squared, and I get 6x squared. Does -6 have a like term?
No.
Nope. So it just gets brought down. And 3 and -2 gives me +1. There's me. Okay, so if you have a minus problem, you got to put them in parentheses. Number 6 says, find the total area of the figure. So now what am I looking for? The total. Okay, find the total area of the figure if each expression is the area of that section. Okay, so how would I do this? Add them all up, right? Do I need to put parentheses when I'm adding? No. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the big one. 13y squared plus y plus 4. So I took the big region, and now I'm going to add each little box to it. And what's little boxes? Y squared. So now I'm going to have 4 of those. Y squared plus Y squared plus Y squared plus Y squared. Okay, did this problem look scary to start out as? A little bit. Okay, it's got a weird shape, right? Now what? Combine your like terms. So start with 13y squared. What is it like terms with? All the y squareds, which are all what? They're all imaginary ones. So 13 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1? 17y squared. Does y have a like term? No. Nope, it gets brought down. And does 4 have a like term? Nope, it gets brought down. Questions? Okay, let's do our practice.